They are actually locked in a massive, invisible battle against physics every single day. Welcome to another Explainer where we pull back the curtain and reveal the matrix behind the mundane. Today, we're diving deep into the invisible architecture of our world. In today's Explainer, we're going to cover four main things: the forces that break stuff, stability and the center of gravity, how we stiffen materials, and finally, the blueprint, design specifications.
All right, let's jump straight into part one, the forces that break things. Okay, so our built environment is constantly under attack by these invisible physical villains we call structural loads. The first one is compression, which is basically just forces that squash. Picture stacking a huge pile of heavy textbooks on a cheap, flimsy table. Those table legs, they're experiencing severe, crushing compression. Push it too far and, well, failure is definitely inevitable.
Now, the exact opposite of that is tension. This is the force of being stretched incredibly tight. Think of a massive suspension bridge hanging over a bay. Those giant steel cables are locked in a permanent, ongoing fight against tension, which is literally trying to pull the material apart.
Then we have bending. This force makes rigid structures bow under uneven weight. Like if you go and sit right in the middle of a long, unsupported wooden plank, you actually become the bending force that's trying to snap it right in half.
Next up is torsion, which just means twisting. Imagine aggressively wringing out a wet towel. That twisting action, that's torsion trying to tear a structure apart. It's exactly the same force that attacks a tall cell phone tower when it gets hit by hurricane-level winds. And finally, we've got shear forces. This happens when internal parts slide in opposite directions. It acts kind of like a giant pair of scissors trying to snip the material. If you take a deck of cards and push the top sideways while holding the bottom, that sliding, cutting action you see, that's shear.
Moving right along to part two, stability and center of gravity.
So understanding those destructive forces is really only half the battle. The other half? Engineering stability to fight back. And the secret to that lies in the center of gravity. That's a specific point where an object's mass is basically hyper-focused. To stop something from toppling over, you want a firm, wide base with a low center of gravity tucked safely deep inside. But here is the tricky part. The very second a load moves, that center of gravity shifts right along with it. And when that center shifts a bit too far, or if the environment itself fails, you get a disaster. Take heritage buildings like the Voortrekker Monument in Pretoria. It's experienced these slow stability shifts over decades. Or the incredibly famous Leaning Tower of Pisa, which became totally unstable because of failing soil conditions at its base. Even in modern settings, like with overhead construction cranes, a slightly unbalanced load can dynamically shift the center of gravity right out from under it, causing massive, heavy machinery to just topple over in seconds.
All right, part three. Secrets of stiffening materials.
So you might be wondering, how exactly do engineers take really flimsy materials and make them withstand these massive loads? Well, it's not always about using solid steel. A lot of the time, it's just about geometry. Take corrugation, for example. Those are the hidden, parallel, alternating ridges and grooves inside a regular cardboard box. By simply folding a flat sheet of paper into hills and valleys, you magically transform it into a rigid, load-bearing shield that can totally fight off bending and compression. You can actually test this geometric alchemy yourself. Try taking a normal sheet of paper and rolling it into a tight cylinder. That harnesses the strength of tubing. Or crease it into an I-beam shape to unlock the power of folding. You can even build a little box frame with internal struts and corner joints, which are called gussets, to create triangulation. Triangles are amazing because they inherently lock their shape, making them incredibly stable under pressure. If you slowly stack heavy books on top of these simple paper structures, the results are honestly mind-blowing. A single weak sheet of paper, when it's rolled up tightly or reinforced with triangulation, can suddenly hold multiples of its own weight before violently collapsing. It's a really cool experiment that proves a fundamental engineering truth. Strength isn't just about the material you use, it's totally about the design.
Which brings us nicely to part four, the blueprint and design specifications. To actually turn these physical workarounds into reality, designers need a strict battle plan before a single piece of material is ever cut. And to do that, they have to fiercely separate their specifications from their constraints. Specifications are the hard, non-negotiable requirements, what the product absolutely must do and include to solve a problem. Constraints, on the other hand, are the frustrating limitations they have to deal with, like budget caps, strict time limits, or only having certain tools and materials available.
Once a product is actually manufactured, those initial specs become its real-world features. Designers then have to evaluate its success using a strict checklist. They ask things like, who is it actually for? Will it do the job? Is it safe and easy to use? They even have to consider aesthetics, because if a structure looks terrible and aggressively clashes with its environment, it causes what we call visual pollution. So they're constantly weighing a product's functionality against its broader societal and environmental impact.
A really fascinating real-world example of this clash is the classic BlackBerry Curve 8900. When it came out, it had upgraded specs like a 3.2-megapixel camera, Wi-Fi, and a micro USB port, and people loved those features. But constraints hit back hard. Because of cost and technology limitations at the time, it got criticized for having a slow processor and no 3G capability. There were even regional legal constraints. They actually had to make a spin-off model, the 8910, that completely stripped out Wi-Fi just to comply with Chinese regulations. And structurally, reviewers noted that it bent under pressure a lot more easily than older models, which is clear proof that it didn't resist those destructive forces of bending and compression quite as well as it should have. So whether we're talking about a simple cardboard box, a towering skyscraper, or a classic smartphone, absolutely everything is bound by these rules. Nature dictates the forces, geometry provides the stiffness, and our blueprints balance what's possible with what's practical. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to just look around for a second. What invisible forces of compression or torsion do you think are acting on the chair you're sitting in right now? And what brilliant hidden geometry is keeping you from crashing to the floor? Keep wondering, keep learning, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.